Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Creating Cards with Debbie. I want to welcome you here today. Be sure that you comment when you come on so I can say hello to you. All right, I'm just going to give a moment. Catch my breath. Well, it's Monday morning, August 18th, 2025. It's hard to believe that we're halfway through August already. So I want to welcome you here today, like I said. And my name is Debbie Foster, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Bismarck, Arkansas, in the United States. And we're going to be doing 3 fun fold cards today. That's not my normal. I usually only do 1 fun fold, but we're going to do all 3 fun folds today. And I'm using different stamp sets and stamp products to produce those today. So, good morning, Alice. Glad you're here this morning. I'm just getting started, just going through my introductions and all that sort of stuff. Let me go ahead and turn my table around to my desk view and we'll get started. Let me get situated here. Bring up the right camera. Okay, there we go. Okay, like I said, I'm creating cards with Debbie, and you can shop for any of the products that we're showing today in my online store, which is www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. And let me run that across the bottom so you can see that. And if you would like to email me with any questions, you can reach me on my email address, which is creatingwithdebbie179@gmail.com. Okay, and we've got some things going on right now, so let me remove that again, make some space. Stampin' Up! Has got a special going on for August until the end of the month. So it started August 5th and it runs until August 31st. And what it is, for the 2025 to 2027 in color products, you'll receive 15% off of those. And that includes the paper, the ribbon, the stamp pads, the blend or the stamping blends, the markers, some embellishments, and any designer series paper that might have those colors in them. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll be glad to walk you through that. All right. And then Paper Pumpkin for the September Paper Pumpkin is called Fall for Toil. I think I'm saying that right. And let me bring up my flyer here in a moment. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. I didn't have that out here yet. So I wasn't organized. What did I do with that? There we are. Had it hidden underneath a pile of my papers here. Okay, it's called Fall for Toil, and you have until September 10th to subscribe for this one. And it says that you get to design elegant cards with metallic foil and rich autumn imagery. It makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs, and that includes the envelopes. Metallic foil details and grouse grain ribbon trim, pre-cut paper pieces, and printed sentiment labels. And the stamping spot that you get with this one is going to be the Cajun Craze. And this also coordinates with the Autumn Toil Suite collection that's coming out starting September 3rd in our new mini catalog. And also, along with that, you can add on your dies, which coordinate with the July through September Paper Pumpkin kits. And you have to be a subscriber to Paper Pumpkin to be able to get these dies. They are number 167277, and the price of those is $12. So you get quite a few dies there for that price. So that's a bargain. Okay. And I also want to remind you about earning Stampin' Rewards, and that is for each $20 you earn 10% in stamping rewards, but you have to be opted in to receive them. So you have to have an email address and account set up with Stampin' Up. And this kind of runs you through how to get that set up. I won't go through all that. I'll just leave it there for a moment. So if you have any questions on that, also reach out to me. And let me get back to my desktop again. Okay, I want to show you our brand new catalog that's coming out starting September 3rd. And this runs until December of 2025. I can't open it and show you the inside of it until it goes live, which is September 3rd. So we've just got a little while, 2 weeks or so to wait for that to happen. But I can show you the cover and the back of it. So I'll kind of give you some ideas of kind of what might be in there. So, and this catalog is going to run until January 5th. So it's going to last for a little bit. All right. So I think I'm ready to get down to making some cards here. We're going to start out with a Halloween one. I know some people don't do Halloween, but you can turn this into a fall card or whatever too. So let me get my comments back here. There we go. Okay, be sure you like and share the video. That helps me get more viewers, so I'd appreciate that. And if you're watching me on YouTube, be sure that you hit that subscribe button and also that little bell so you'll be notified when I go live. All right, so we're going to be using Spooky Halloween. And this isn't a scary one. It's kind of a cute Halloween set, so that's kind of good. And then you can get the dies to go along with that as a bundle, and you'll save 10%. So we're going to be using that today. We're going to be using the paper that coordinates with that, and that is called, it's called Spooky Sweet 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And this is an online exclusive only, so you'd have to go to my online section to shop for that. And here are the Designer Series paper that come with that package. Yeah. Let me kind of go through these real quick to give you an idea. Got these cute little guys right here. You can fussy cut those out. And in the background. This one, I've already stitched one out of it, so it's missing one here in the corner. I didn't have an extra sheet. I've used them already. But it kind of gives you where you could cut these apart and use them for card fronts or the whole thing on a fun fold of some sort. And at the bottom, and then this is the back side. And here we got our candy corn and candy. And the back side. Some punch outs in that too. So it's not just the paper, but it's got some punch outs that you just pop these out and put them onto your card or your scrapbooking page. And that's just the one side. And also these. You can cut these out and use them for tags and banners, or you can use the back side, whichever you prefer. All right, so we'll set those aside. And we'll get on with our project. Let me get our card out here. And like I said, this is a fun fold. Instructions over here. So it says no tricks, all treats. And then it opens like this. It's a double Z fold. And we've got the little house on the inside and the little Frankenstein doggy. It says don't worry, eat sweets. And then I put another layer on the back side to be able to sign the card. Happy Halloween. All right, so let's go ahead and get our supplies out here. I've done a lot of the prep work ahead of time to save a little time. So let me get organized here and get those out. We're going to be using, this is our pumpkin pie cardstock. And it measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4 inches and at 2 1/8 inch from the one side. So this is going to be our front fold. So we're going to burnish those fold lines back. And give ourselves a real good fold here. Okay, so that's our basic card. And then we've got another pumpkin pie cardstock, and this one measures 3 5/8 inches by 8 1/4 inches, and I've scored it at 2 3/4 inches on each side. So we're just going to fold those back and burnish those fold lines. And this is going to be like a Z. That's why it's called a double Z fold. Something on there. Okay, so here's our Z. So we're going to start assembling this. I'm going to start with the larger card first. And put my layers out here. I'm using this design, the orange, where it's got the little critters on the other side, which are really cute. We're using this side of this. And I've got a basic weight, and let me get the measurements here. The basic weight is 5 1/4 inches by 2 inches, and we've got 2 of those because we've got 2 panels that we're going to cover. Let me get both of those out here. So here's our 2. And then our designer series paper measures 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inches. And like I said, we need 2 of those. So let's go ahead and attach those with our Tombow glue. And a little goes a long ways, so just kind of light on the glue so it's not oozing out. That's why some people don't like the glue, because it's kind of messy if you get too much of it. It kind of goes everywhere. All right, so there's the one panel that's going to go on the front. And our next one. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Ours was good. Nothing really special. We did go out to lunch with some friends from church after church. But that's about all we did all weekend. Nothing special, just the same old days, which are kind of good. Sometimes boring is good. All right, we're going to attach that to the front flap. And I'm going to open this so I can get it to lay flat and add this, make sure I'm on camera view. And we're going to leave a small border going around it. Oops. And with the liquid glue, you've got time to wiggle it around if you need to move it. And that just moved on its own. I had to reposition it. And our inside panel. Right. So there we have so far, both panels. And then on our inside of our card, we have our basic weight, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then I've got our designer series paper, and I'm using this pattern. That's the back side, that's the front. And the designer series paper is 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inch. And we're going to attach that to our basic weight layer. And again, we're going to leave a small border going around our designer series paper. And I need to scooch this up a bit. I've got a gnat. I don't know if the camera picked him up or not. I don't know where he came from. Okay. He wanted to be put on my card. All right, let's attach this to the inside of our card. I'll turn that around to get it even with the other layers. Match up my white borders. Press that down. Okay, so that part of our card is finished. So now we're going to work on the inside layers. And we've got some scrap. These are the layers I want. We've got 3 layers of the white, basic white. And these measure 2 5/8 inches by 3.5 inches. And we're going to just start working on those before we attach them to anything. So I'm going to close up my glue for a minute and bring our stamps over here. And I think I'm using almost every stamp in that stamp set today. So I'll just grab those all out here. And pretty sure I did. I think I used everything. Oh, no, got 3 that I didn't use. All but 3. All right, so we're going to start out. We've got a scrap paper here. And we're going to stamp the cat and the dog on those. And my black Memento ink pad. So I'm going to start with the cat one first. Ink that up. Stamp him. Or her. I guess it's a her. Looks like she's wearing a dress. She's got a little skirt on there at the bottom. And our little boy dog, Frankenstein. Frankie. All right. I'll step those aside. And okay. I guess I want to go ahead and color those. So our Stampin' Blends, we've got quite an assortment here. We're not going to color all of these because I've already colored them ahead of time, but I just want to give you an idea what I did. So we're going to start out with the little Frankie here. We're going to color his body with the Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to start out with our light Granny Apple Green. Am I on camera? Yeah. I'm just going to do this kind of quickly. I'm not going to color all of them because I've already got one already finished, but I just want to give you an idea how I went around doing this. So all right, and then I'm going to come in with our dark Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to highlight some of the stampings here to bring it out. I'm going to color his one eye with the dark Granny Apple Green. It's got a black eye, I guess. And we'll get those little bolt things on his neck. All right. I'm going to blend that a little bit more with a brush end than my light Granny Apple Green. All right, and we'll do his hands with the light Granny Apple Green. All right. That just gives you an idea. It's not perfect, but it gives you an idea how I did that. And I'm going to use the pumpkin pie for his shirt. And I'm going to start out with a light pumpkin pie. We'll do the top part of his sleeves with a light color. Pumpkin pie. And again, I'll come in with the dark pumpkin pie. Do some shading. These little cuffs of his shirt there with the dark. So I'm going to color in his neck there with the green. It's kind of throwing off the shirt there. And then we're going to switch our colors, and we're going to use Dark Daffodil Delight for his shorts. And that's all for that. And I'm going to use the Light Daffodil Delight for one of his stripes on his stockings there. And we'll bring back our light pumpkin pie and do the other stocking stripe. And then we're going to use Petunia Pop Light for the sucker that he's got there. So I did the light on the majority of it, and then I'm going to do just the center of that sucker with the dark Petunia Pop. Okay, so there's our Frankie. Now let's do the little girl. And she's going to be, we're going to use the light gray granite to color her body. And her paws. And her tail. The tip of her tail I'm going to do with the dark gray granite. Okay, here's the dark gray granite. We'll give some highlighting. And do the tips of her ears with the dark gray granite. And the tip of her tail. And I guess that's part of her nose part there. And then we're going to go with a light bubble bath for a little pink nose. Now we're going to bring back our Petunia Pop light. We'll do her shirt. Make sure I don't color her paws pink. All right, and get her sleeve. Okay, I'm going to do the tops of her stockings there with a little bit of the Petunia Pop to match the dark. That was the dark. This is the dark. I'm going to just do a little shading. And we're going to put some darker stripes on her hat there where it's showing white. And I'm going to do her skirt with the Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to use the dark Granny Apple Green. Things are rolling here. So what's everybody's weather's doing? Ours is going to be hot, hot, hot today. We're supposed to reach 102. So that's going to be pretty toasty. Good time to stay inside with the air conditioner. All right, now we're going to do the light granny apple green on the stripes of her stockings. And also the dark pumpkin pie for the next stripe of her stocking. Okay. And we're going to do her little boots. Are going to be the dark petunia pop. Okay. Pick up all of these, get them out of the way. And for the sake of time, I've already die cut those out. I colored them ahead of time and cut them out. So there we have those. Now we're going to get back to our panels here, and we'll set those two aside for a moment. And we're going to use our blending brush and add a little pumpkin pie to these layers, just to tone down the white a little bit. And I'm going to put a scrap paper underneath me so I don't make a mess here. Kind of keep my work surface clean. All right. So all three of these, we're going to do our blending brush and our pumpkin pie ink pad. I'm going to tap that off onto my mat on the side here. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the center of that layer. And that one's kind of dark, but we're okay with that. Okay. Fixing to get a little heavy-handed here. Getting a little bit too much on there. Let me turn those over. Redo them. Yeah, I want it more light, so I'm going to switch these over. I should have knocked off more ink off of my brush. All right, that's about what I want it to be. And close that up. And I'm going to grab a tissue here and wipe that off of my surface. I don't stick my arm in it. Well, I'm going to use my Simply Chamois. That'll work. There. I want to put my arm in it. Okay, now we're going to stamp our sentiments on these. And our first one is going to be No Tricks, All Treats. And we're using the black Memento ink. I'm going to stamp that to make sure it's got a good surface on it. And it's going to go up in the upper right-hand corner of that first layer. No Tricks, All Treats. And our second one has got some bats that are flying. And I'm going to put those there, and another one flying over here. Okay, so set those aside for a moment, and we'll work on this one. So our next one is, where is it? I'm missing it. I'm missing a stamp here. Where did I put it? Okay, here it is. It's hiding. It's a long sentiment. Don't worry, eat sweets. But we're only going to ink up half of that at a time. So I'm just going to dip that into my ink pad. You can see it when we've got the photopolymer stamps. We can see where we're inking at. So it's going to, don't worry. And that's going to go up in the upper corner here upper left side. And I'm going to clean that off with my chamois. That off, dry it off. And then we're going to ink up the Eat Sweets next. And that's going to go across the bottom. Are we still in camera? Let me scoot that up a little bit. Eat Sweets. Okay. And we'll close that up, put that aside. And I've already die cut. Let me bring the die cut out here and show the little haunted house. Well, get it out of there. There we go. This is a haunted house, and I set my basic black and Daffodil Delight cardstock together, and I cut both out at the same time. So we're going to, and then I was able to place the yellow into the little holes there. So it looks like there's lights on inside. So we're going to put this on with the bat. So that's going to go on that layer. And put a little glue on the back of that. I think one of them just popped out here. Hopefully it stays in place while I move it. Press that down. So there. So cute. All right, and we're going to grab our little critters over here. He's going to go on this one. She's going to go on this one. So use our glue again. And little Frankie here. All right, now we can start assembling our card. So bring our other smaller card layer over here, our Z fold, and we're going to attach this one to this side. We'll leave a small border going around the edges so that orange peeks out. And then this next. We don't get any trick-or-treaters anymore. I guess a lot of people just don't take their kids out trick-or-treating anymore. Like a lot of churches and stuff have different activities for the kids now. So I guess that's a good thing, but I kind of miss the trick-or-treaters too. It was fun to see their costumes and stuff. All the little ones. All right, so here's our card so far. There's our Z. Let's bring our full-size card back over here, and let me get rid of my scrap paper there. And we're going to attach this end of the card to the inside of our card. So I'm going to place some glue on the back of that. And I like to hold it together so it's easier to maneuver instead of getting away from me. And we're just going to attach that down. And I'm going to turn that around to make sure I'm straight, which looked like it needed adjustments there. And it still looks crooked to me. There we are. is attached. We don't attach the inside, we only attach this side. And I'm not going to glue the whole thing down because otherwise it would stick to our other layer. And we just want to put glue at this side, probably, oh, an inch or so on that side. So let's add that glue adhesive. So I'm just putting a little bit. Close that, and then I'm going to fold this back over on it, and we're going to hold that in place for just a second or two. Okay. And so there we have our fun fold. Now we need to decorate this a bit more. I think I've got some glue on there. I need to get my glue eraser. I probably had glue on my fingers. There, all better. All right. And our die we want to put away so we don't lose. And okay, we're going to be using, whoops, that's not the right dies. For our embellishments, it's got these little Shimmer Star foam stickers, and that goes along with this suite of products. And it's an online exclusive, like all these are. And we're going to grab our Take Your Pick tool. I'm not going to use the putty end because these are foam, and it kind of smashes them if I use that. So I'm just going to use the pointy tip of my Take Your Pick tool. And first off, I'm going to grab some purple ones, and we're going to place those onto our front flap here. And I'm going to use 2 large ones. And then I'm going to grab a black small one, or yeah, I used a small one. A black small one, and we're going to put that down here in the corner of our cat so you can see. And then I'm going to grab a black large one, and we're going to place that right above our sentiment on the inside, and a medium-sized one we'll put right here. And I've got a little bit of glue on the inside too, I see. So we're going to use that glue eraser and get that off of there. All right. So there's our main focal point of our card. But let's do the back side of that. This is our basic white, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to add a little bit of that orange to the back sides. I might have enough ink on there to be able to do that. And I think it's probably enough on there yet. Just to tone down that white a little bit. Just a little bit in the circle, or the middle of the basic white. And as much or as little as you want. There's no set amount. And we're going to grab our black memento ink, and we're going to stamp our sentiment Happy Halloween on there. And put that up. And I stamp mine in the center. So we have that. And now we can attach that to the back of our card. Okay, making sure I wasn't upside down here. This will go onto the back, and we'll have room to sign our card. Sure that's attached. Okay, so there's card number 1. No tricks, all treats. And there's our haunted house on the inside. And don't worry, eat sweets. And then on the back side, Happy Halloween. Okay, so that's our first card. Let me go ahead and clean up my stamps here so I don't accidentally put my arm in it or something. Give me just a moment. All right, and the last one. All right, I'm going to set these all aside. We're done with those. And we'll get on with our next card. Okay, so deciding which one I want to do next. Another fun fold. And this is just a stamp set. It's a standalone. It's a Hugs and Healing stamp set. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is an online exclusive too. This is another fun fold. It's going to open like this. It says, "Hope you feel better soon." And it opens like this, and again like this. And then you close those again, and the main card opens from the bottom like this. So it's got different layers. The camera's showing that very well. Okay. So we'll put that over here. The paper that I'm using comes from the Country Lace Designer Series paper, and this is on our last chance where it's going to be retiring here in just a little bit. It was $12.50. It's marked down to $11.25. And we're using this pattern here and this pattern here. All right, let me get everything out of the way here so we can make some instructions. And I don't need this little guy no more. Put that away. Trying to straighten up my area here a little bit. Well, that doesn't want to stay in place. Okay. Okay, this one is called a triple flap fun fold. It's the name of the fold. And we're going to start out with our card base, which is petal pink. And let me get this out here. I kind of did some of the prep work ahead of time, so I've got to get things sorted here. Okay, here's our petal pink. And this measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And it's scored at 5 1/2 inches. Let me move it out of the way. We're going to burnish that fold line. And then we've got lots of layers here, so I'm trying to keep them straight. Okay. Another layer of petal pink. And that's one of our flaps. That's going to be okay, 3 3/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches. And it's going to be scored at 1/4 inch on the one side. And then we have another petal pink, and that one measures 3 1/4 inches by 3 inches. And that's scored on the one side at 1/4 inch. So we're going to go ahead and burnish those fold lines. Okay. And then we've got our designer series paper that goes along with those. This one goes on here. And that one measures okay, I'm just getting my bearings here. That one doesn't go on that side. We want a white layer that goes on the front side, and that measures 2 7/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches. And on the inside, our designer series paper will go, and that measures instructions are kind of confusing here. Get the ruler out. It'll be 2 7/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches. So this is going to go on the inside layer of that flap. So let's go ahead and attach that so I don't confuse myself anymore. It's been a few days since I did this card, so I've got to jolt my memory back so I remember what I did. So this goes on the inside of that larger flap. And place that down. And then we're going to attach this to, okay, that doesn't get attached yet. We're missing a layer here. We've got our basic white. This measures 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And then another layer of that designer series paper, which is all right, I'm okay, 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm embossed this using the embossing folder, which is the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. I did that ahead of time. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. You can kind of see the ridges of it in there, maybe. Hopefully. That's going to go onto this layer. I'll have all these measurements and everything on my blog probably later today, I'm thinking. I should have them finished, so sometime later this afternoon. All right, that's not the right one. Another layer? No? No, that's not right. Measure this again. Did I grab the wrong one? It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, it should have been 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. So let's grab our cardstock back out here and we'll cut a new one. I didn't think that looked right. So here's a basic white. Grab our paper trimmer. Things falling on the floor. 5 3/8 inches long. So 1, 2, 3. There's 5 3/8. By 4 1/8. Okay. Thankfully, JoJo's sleeping, so she won't get my paper that fell down. All right, now this goes on to our 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 basic white. And then our designer series paper goes on top of that. That's been embossed already. And we're leaving a small edge going around. And now we're going to attach our flaps to this. So remember, this was the inside. And this is going to go right up against this left side towards the top, leaving a little edge. Add my glue to that. Trying to come it out real light so it's not real thick layer of glue. The less the better. All right, we're going to place that up underneath there. And press that down so it attaches. And we're going to work on the bottom flap, and that's going to be, that's a scrap. Or no, that goes on the front of that one. So the inside is going to be, let me look at my original. We're putting the designer series paper on the outside of this one. And this isn't measuring right. Well, it is. It's not covering that. I wonder if it's, no, it's right. It's not looking right to me. It just doesn't look right. Let me see. Looks like it's 2 5/8. Yeah, it's a little bit too big. I'm going to cut off a little bit of this. Anything over here, and we're going to chop off just a hair of that. And a little bit more. All right. I wonder if I didn't measure that wrong. Let me see what we've got with it. 2 7/8 by 3 1/4, and then I scored at 1/4 inch on that long side. All right, this is starting to look better. It's going to go like this. This is going to go on the front of that. And attach that. And this is going to go on the inside. And this measures, basic weight is 2 3/8 by 3 1/8. Goes on the inside. All right, it's going to touch this bottom area. And again, we're going to put that up against that score line. Press that down so it adheres. So this will go like this, and that will go like that. And let's go ahead and get started on that front flap first. I'm going to be using our blending brush. And I think I'm missing a stamp pad here. I got to grab a stamp pad, my pretty in pink. Or petal pink. Yeah, maybe I've got it out already. I must have already grabbed it. Let me see. Well, I am not seeing it. Where, oh, where could it be? It's hiding underneath my things here on my desk. I had it out. I just couldn't see it. So we're going to use their Petal Pink. And we're going to use a small blending brush. Bring my scrap paper over here so I don't mess up. And we're going to add some Petal Pink to that layer. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. Why not? All right, there we go. That's good. Is that it? Well, we need to use that yet. We'll leave that out for a while. And that aside. All right, and our stamps are going to be brought over here. And I think I used every stamp in that stamp set. Let's get organized here. That's our envelope. I should have a scrap here. Which that's what that was. Yeah. Grab a scrap of white. And we're going to grab our black memento. Let me put the cover on my glue here so I don't stick it to everything. All right, so we're going to stamp onto our scrap paper here. We've got our dog. Well, he goes on to, I'm not going to stamp him yet. He goes on the inside. Let's grab the cat. And then our dog and cat that are sleeping. And I think that's all we need to grab for now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and color those. And we've got our colors that we're using are going to be our cloud cover, smoky slate, creme cake, and petal pink. All right. We're going to color the cat first, and that's going to be our smoky slate. We're going to start with the light. I think I've got these colored ahead of time, so we don't have to go through all this. I'll just give you the basics of this. Color her face with the smoky slate and light, and then I'm going to come back with the dark smoky slate and give some highlights to her. And I'm going to color her cheeks with the dark. And her nose is going to be the light petal pink. And we're going to color her little, what's that called? Her brace for her arm with the light petal pink. And then I'll come back with the dark petal pink and give that some shading. All right. And okay, so she's all colored. We're going to go over to the dog and the cat. And I'm going to start out with our light. Well, let's start coloring them first. We're going to do the cat with the gray, the smoky slate light. And make sure you color the right polys that go with the right colors. Okay, smoky slate is the cat. And do the dark smoky slate to give her some highlight, some shading. And I'll do her cheeks with the dark. And then we're going to come in with the light petaled pink, give her a pink nose. Now the dog we're going to do with our crumb cake. And I'll start out with the light crumb cake. I'm kind of doing this kind of fast, maybe a little bit sloppy, but I've already got them colored and die cut out already for a hard card, so just to save a little time here. And now the dark crumb cake. We'll do his nose and some little highlighting, shading, and his toes. All right, and then we're going to do the cloud cover for the blanket. I'm going to start out with the dark, and we'll do the dark cloud cover for the outside of his blanket, the edges. And the light cloud cover for the rest of his blanket. And you could do these separate colors, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to do it the same color. All right. Okay, so there's the general idea. And for the sake of time here, I've already die cut those out. Bring those over here. There's our cat. Here's our cat. So there's the cat and there's the dog. Set those there for a moment. All right. So we're going to start with our front flap here. And we've already used the blending brush with the petal pink to add a little pink to that. So we're going to place our cat where we want to. And then I've die cut more basic white using the everyday arches. And we'll bring those over here. I did the smallest one, smallest die arch, and that is this one here. And then I did a medium-sized one. And let's make this one. Did I cut another white out? And I've already added our petal pink to this already. We're going to just stamp our dog onto there. Well, I've already colored him and die cut him. So here's the other guy we didn't color. I got myself totally confused here. All right, so let's get back on track here. The sentiment that we're going to stamp onto this is going to say, hope you feel better soon. And I'm going to use our basic black pimento. And we'll stamp that onto that. I'm going to put it up towards the upper middle. So it's not all the way to the top. It's kind of centered a little bit lower. So hope you feel better soon. And we're going to go ahead and put our dies up here so we don't lose them. We're going to put our cat up on dimensionals. And I take your pick tool and take those off, and we're going to center her at the bottom right hand corner. And let me close up my ink pads because I got something here I don't want to make a mess with. We're going to be using another new ribbon, which is called Braided Trim. And this is our Petal Pink. This is an online exclusive also. And I'm going to be using some of that. Or no, I'm using the wrong one. Never mind. It's not this one. It's another one. Which, okay. Got that here. I thought I forgot to grab it. This is our Petal Pink and White 1/4 inch diagonal trim combo. And this is on our last chance. It was $10 for the two. And now it's marked down to only $5 for the two. So that's a bargain. You might want to go grab you some of those. So I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to zigzag that underneath our label here. So let me grab my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to run a strip of that to hold our ribbon in place. Oopsie, look what I did. It's grabbing where it's not supposed to grab. It's all right, it's not going to show. All right. So we're going to zigzag that ribbon. And I'm going to start at the top here. Place that down. Kind of wind this around. And maybe like 4 layers, 4 or 5 layers, whichever you have room for. And maybe bring that back down here again. Yes, ribbon scissors, we'll snip that off. Get that out of the way. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some dimensionals and put on the back of that. And I'm just going to put one at each, the top and at the bottom. And we'll set that on top of that zigzag ribbon. All right, and then I've also made a bow ahead of time out of that same ribbon. We're going to place that at the bottom. And then we're going to use our mini glue dots. Attach that with. Take your pick tool, lift that off. And place that centered at the bottom. And I need to scooch my ribbon over a little bit. I've got more on one side than the other. So I'm going to maneuver that over. And we'll take our ribbon scissors and we'll trim that down. All right, now I want to add a little paw prints to the bottom of this. So I'm going to ink that up using our Petal Pink. And like so. Get rid of the rest of our blends here out of the way. And we'll bring our card back over here. Finish assembling that. We can go ahead and attach this layer to our card, our basic card. And I was giving some time for my glue to dry on my folds of my flaps to make sure that they're on there good. And turn that around, position that centered onto our card front. That looks good. Let me open this and press that down to make sure it's attached good. Morning, Amber. How are you doing today? Glad you're here. Okay, this is going to go onto that front flap. I probably confused everybody on this card. I think I kind of confused myself. That's what happens when you do these ahead of time. You forget how you did it. Okay, so I'm going to open that up and I'm going to place this down onto that top flap. So press that down. Okay, so there's our front flap. Isn't she cute? Let's tuck this ribbon underneath her ears here. There, it's kind of hiding her ear a little bit. And this could be a little shorter too. I think I'll shorten that ribbon up a little bit more. There, better. So there's the front flap. And we'll work on the inside of the bottom flap. And okay, so he's going to go onto here. But I need to shorten him because it's a little bit too wide. So I'm going to just snip that off with my paper snips. And that's better. We're going to add him to that. And first we're going to stamp the sentiment, which says you're not alone. And where did that go? Okay, right here, you're not alone, with our black Memento ink. And it's going to go at the top upper right hand corner. You're not alone. And we have the designer series paper that's going to go across the bottom. So we'll put that down. Across this bottom edge a little bit. And then we'll attach our dog and our cat. Oops, it moved on me. There we go. You're not alone. And finished with that one. Okay, now let's work on our next layer, which is right here. Okay, we're going to attach him to this, and it's going to say, I'm sorry you're feeling rough. Is that what I had on there? Yeah. All right, right here. And that's going to stamp right at the bottom, left side. I'm sorry you're feeling rough. And we'll attach him in there. And then that's going to go on the inside layer. Just under this front flap. And off to that side, off to the upper left-hand side of that area. Oh no. Okay, I just got a message here. Amber and Alice, are you still there? Facebook is saying that they're having problems streaming my video, so I'm hoping you still see me. There's no way I can check and see if it's doing it or not, so let me know if you're still watching me on Facebook, if you still see me. All right. That. Okay, now our inside layer is going to be okay, well, is that okay, we'll use this layer here. We got our glue on it from before where I goofed, so I'm just going to add some more to that and put that on the inside of our card. All right. I'm not sure if Amber can hear me or not. She may have lost me. I know she's watching me on Facebook. All right. Well, we'll have to keep going and see what happens, I guess. It says that they're working on fixing it, so hopefully everything's fine. All right, so the inside, we're going to stamp our cat at the bottom here. And a little dog with the thermometer in his mouth on the other corner. And bring those blends over here and we'll color that real quick. What sentiment did I put on the inside? Sending healing hugs. Here we are. Sending healing hugs to you. And I'll go up here. All right, so let's go ahead and color those. All right, so we're going to do the cat with the gray smoky slate, and we'll start out with a light smoky slate. I have to be a little bit careful with this one because this is my keeper when I don't have a replacement, and so kind of watching what I'm doing here a little bit better, a little bit more careful. And her neck. Never had a gray cat. They are pretty though. We have a black and white one outside. I have a tabby and a chocolate point Siamese inside. Which my Siamese isn't doing so good. He's diabetic and he's refused to take his insulin shots. So it's just a matter of time with him, I guess. That's all I can do for him. He tore us up so bad that we couldn't hang on to him. And for okay, he's made a decision. But he's hanging in there longer than what we thought. Okay, so that's enough of the smoky slate. Now we'll switch to our dog. Well, let's finish coloring the cat first. Let's do that with the petal pink for his arm brace there. And I'm starting with the light petal pink. Okay. And then we'll switch to the dark petal pink. Give that some shading. And we'll do his nose with the dark petal pink. All right, now we're going to use the crumb cake for the dog. And I'll start with a light crumb cake. Oops, I colored his eye. I didn't want to do that. And his chest here with the light crumb cake. And his paws and his tail. Okay, now we'll use the dark crumb cake to give him some shading. And I think I'll do his nose, his mouth area there with the dark, and his nose. And his toes. All right, and then we're going to do the cloud cover light for the ice pack on his head. The light, it's right here. And his little tag there, we'll do that the same. Now we'll do the dark cloud cover. We'll do that cap of that ice pack and some shading here. And we'll do his collar the same with the dark cloud cover and the trim of his blanket. My husband's quiet today. Not sure what he's doing outside this morning. I don't look for him to be out there very long. It's supposed to get really hot today. Okay, and then we're going to come back with the light cloud cover, and we're going to color the rest of that blanket that he's wearing. Let's have a fever. He's cold. And I'm going to use the petal pink light for the thermometer tip. All right, then we're going to bring our stamp pad back over here, the petal pink, and we're going to stamp some paw prints on the edge of this. And just going to do the bottom and then the right side with the paw prints. All right. Okay, so I think we've got this covered now. Everything's done. Just double checking. Okay. Get these out of the way. Okay, so here's our second fun fold. Hope you feel better soon. This opens and this opens. And I'm sorry you're feeling rough and you're not alone. And then these close. And it opens again to the inside layer, sending healing hugs your way. Or sending healing hugs to you. Okay, and I think I missed something here, yeah. We've got some gems here we're going to add to this. And I'm using the online exclusive, the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. And let's get it open here. We're going to add a little bling to our card. And I take your pick tool. I'm using the putty end for these. And these are petal pink. So I'm going to use 2 large ones at the bottom of the bottom flap. And then I'm going to use a medium-sized one for the top of our arch up on this one, where the sentiment is. All right, so here we have it, the little bling on there. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right, let's get to our third card. I guess we're not doing too bad with the time. Oh, I forgot the envelope. Okay, the envelope, I'm using that Designer Series paper again. This is like 2.5 inches by 6 inches. And here's our envelope. And I'm going to put that onto our envelope flap. So I'm going to just add glue around that flap of our envelope. I always forget to do the envelopes all the time, so made sure I did on this one today. Okay, press that down. Bring our paper snips over here, which are buried under my mess here. And we'll cut that off. Just trim around the flap. So here we have our envelope that goes along with that card. So matchy matchy. And let me clean up just a tiny bit here before we go on to our third card. Okay. All right. All my stamps out of the way. Make room for the next one. Okay, our next card is going to be another fun fold. And this one's using the Pear set. In the Perfectly Pears bundle. And our Designer Series paper. That's called Painterly Pears. And these are in the catalog, new catalog that's coming out starting September 3rd. They'll be available to everybody. All right. Get this all out of the way here. Here's the card. Things out here. Okay, like I said, another fun fold. And this was one of our team meeting mystery stamping things that we did last month or this month for August. So I thought, well, I like this idea. I'm going to use it in my video. So it says hello. And then this opens like this. And it's got a front flap here. So it says friend on the inside. And you could also put another layer on the back side if you wanted with this one also, but I didn't. But you could. All right, we're going to start out with our card base, which is going to be our Darling Duckling. And it measures where are my measurements at? Okay, 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then it's scored at 2 1/8 inches and again at 4 1/4 inches. So we're going to burnish those fold lines with our bone folder. So let me put this back. And center fold line. So it's going to be sort of a Z, but it's not quite a Z. So that's our card base. And our designer series paper, we've got 2 that are 4 inches. Let's see. No, 2 inches by 5 3/8 inches, and we need 2 of those. We've got another one that's going to be the inside, and that measures 4 inches by 5 1/8 inch. No, 5 1/4 inch. 4 by 5 1/4, and 2 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these to our flaps. And did I mix these up a little bit? Let me get those going the right direction here. Okay, so this one's going to go here. Bring our glue back over here. This one isn't as complicated as our last one was, so hopefully this goes better. All right, I'm going to open the folds up, and I'm going to lay that down, get that centered with an even space going all around it. And then we'll bring our inside layer and do the same with that. Center center. And this one goes onto the back area. Love this paper. In fact, I had to order another pack of it before the catalog even goes live. That's how much I love it. Okay. There. So our 3-fold. All right. And then we've got our basic weight. This is going to be the inside. This measures, let me see, 4 1/2 inches by 6 inches. And then it's scored at 3 inches. So we're going to burnish that fold line. And the fold is going to go on the right side. So let me go ahead and stamp the inside of that to start with. Like I said, we're using the pears. And I'm going to stamp the small pear group on the inside, along with the sentiment friend and our little splotches. So I need to have different pads, ink pads here. I'm going to be using the Darling Duckling, Old Olive, and Granny Apple Green. So we'll open this up, and we're going to stamp our pears. And I just used Granny Apple Green. I didn't use my Black Memento ink. No, let's use Old Olive. That's a little bit darker green for our outline of our image. All right, that's going to go in the bottom. Oops, I almost did that wrong. You want to put it on this flap. Onto the far left side, bottom. Okay, that's the outline with the Granny, or the Old Olive. Now we'll bring back the Granny Apple Green, and we'll stamp the inside of the pears. And get those lined up with our image. Not bad. And then I need to grab my Stampin' Blends. I'm using the Pecan Pie and Old Olive for these. So the leaves are going to be Old Olive. I'm going to start with the light Old Olive, and we'll color our leaves in. And then we'll come back with the dark Old Olive to do the veins of those leaves. And for the branches, we're going to be using the Pecan Pie. And I think I'm going to do the light Pecan Pie. Branches. I need to order some more Pecan Pie blends. This is getting low. I may have to switch it to the dark. Yeah, I think that one's gone. Guess I used a lot. So we're going to switch it to the dark Pecan Pie. Okay. And next we're going to stamp the Sentiment Friend with our black memento. And I'm putting that in the right place, right in the center of this other flap, off to the right side. And then we'll come back with our darling duckling and add some splotches. And I didn't stamp that in the right spot. This is supposed to go on this one. Oops. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave it there. I had my original on this one, but I put this one on this one, but it doesn't matter. They can still see it when they open it. So we're going to add some splotches around and about here. And we'll put one there. Okay, so that can go on the inside of our card now. Well, let's go ahead and add our splotches to this while we got that out here. Before we attach that, we'll do the front flap here. Okay, that's good for now. We might have to add some more later. And just grab a basic white here. This will work. I thought I did these ahead of time, but I guess I didn't. We're going to set that aside. We're going to stamp our pears. And our leaves. So our pears are going to be Old Olive. This is one of our old pads, but it works yet, so I haven't replaced it yet. And we're going to do 2 pairs and 2 stems. So we're going to do the outline with the old olive. And then I'm bring my scrap paper over here because we're going to stamp off our old olive with a solid image here to get a lighter green. And we'll match those up. So it just kind of lightens it a little bit when you stamp it off once. Okay. And then I need to bring my die cutting machine over here to get those out with. Let me make a little bit of room. Grab a drink. What's everybody drinking today? Got a soda. Okay, so the plates. This is my mini machine. Works real good on my desk surface. We got small dies. So I'm going to cut this smaller. It'll fit through there. I think it's like a 3-inch clearance that we have on the small machine. And grab the dies. Get this, the pear, and I need the stem. Well, now I'm hearing my husband out there. Okay, and my washi tape to hold this in place. It is here somewhere. Well, it was here somewhere. It's probably here, and I'm probably looking right at it. Because I know I set it out here before I started. Well, I'll grab another one then. See that one? All right. So we can cut a pear and a leaf at the same time. And then we'll have to run it through again for the second one. I'm going to use my tape here to hold it down. Grab another strip here. I don't want these moving. I don't want to have to restamp them again. Okay, we'll run that through the first ones. And we're still squeaking. Guess that gives it character. All right, we'll pop those off. Do our next pair. I might be going over a little bit today, so I'm hoping everybody's able to stay with me. If not, come back and catch the replay. Catch where you missed. I don't normally go more than an hour and a half, so I've probably gone over a little bit today. Oops. I'm just not going to cut that all up. We got to slide our plate back here. Here we go. Hope that cut all the way through. I had that kind of hanging off the edge. No, I'll just snip that off a little bit. Get these out of there first. And grab my paper snips here and do a little surgery. There we go. No harm. Okay. The dies out of the way. Put my machine away. Okay, so here's our 2 pairs. Where's my other leaf at? Well, where did it go? No. Oh, here it is hiding. Had me worried. I thought I lost it. Okay, so we're going to add these to the front of this layer, but we're going to add a designer series paper to that first. And where did it go? It's right here. This is going to go across this bottom edge. Go ahead and attach that in case we need to trim it down. And I'm going to open that and bring it over to the edge. So go like that. Now we can attach this to the inside of our card. Then we'll put our pairs on afterwards. So put your glue on this right-hand side. Make sure that your fold is on the right side, not the left. And this is going to go down the center of our inside of our card. And I'm just looking to see if it's straight, and it looks like it's pretty good. Press that down. Trying for what my husband's doing outside there. He's doing something. Okay, now we're going to place our pairs down on there. So one on the left, one on the right side. You could put these on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I just put mine down flat. And right there, the other one on top of that one. Putting them at a little bit of an angle. Now we'll attach our leaves, our stem. One onto here. And the other one on the other one. Okay. And maybe die cut that. No, that's not darling duckling. I need a scrap of my darling duckling here. All right. And that's going to say hello. Scrap of our darling duckling. And black them into ink. Stamp our hello. And we're going to die cut that. small little label here. And again, I'm going to hold that down with my tape. And center that. Bring your machine back over here. Our plates. And we're going to run that through. And we've got our little hello label. And we're going to attach that over our pears. Hold that for a second. All right, and then we're going to add some ribbon, I think. And which is missing an action here. Oh, it's right here, right beside me. If it had been a snake, it could have bit me. All right, this is going to wrap around that flap and then just tie it in a knot. So, that's along with that suite of collections too. This is the Mossy Meadow and Gold trim. So it's different colors on each side. One's got more gold than the other side does. And we're not showing it, see. So we're going to keep the gold side up more. And let me see if I can tie this on camera or not. So I'm going to make a knot and hold that down. I could use my reversible tweezers, but where did I put those? I don't see them here. Oh, let's hold our finger there and tie that. Maybe. Well, I am having difficulties here. It's always harder when you're on camera to tie a bow or whatever. I don't know why that is. Seems to be. All right, we're just going to go with that for now. I can fix it later. Bring my ribbon scissors over here and we'll snip that off. And we're going to position that over a little bit. And this is going to hold our flap down. Keep it closed when we want it closed. So you can move it to wherever you want to. All right. And then we're going to add some gems to that. We're using the low profile dots. And these are gold and petal pink. And we're going to use the gold ones. Pick tool here. And I'm going to grab off the larger ones. A couple up here. A large and a small. And then another large one at the bottom. Okay, so here's our card. Hello. And then this flips open. And then on the inside, you got the two pears there, and it says friend. So hello, friend. Okay, so that's our third fun fold for today. We went a little bit over, but that's okay. All right, let me bring all these out here and show you, and we'll close for today. Moving everything out of my way to make room. So here's our third one. Here's our second one, and here is our first one. So our 3 cards for today are 3 fun folds. Hope you enjoyed them, and I will be back next Monday, same time, same channels. And that'll be August 25th, 2025. So until then, y'all have a good rest of the week, and thank you again for being here. Be sure you like and share the video, and we'll see you next week. Bye.